Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to the eighth inning stretch. I'm AJ. He's Carson. Carson, we're a little more sad news to lead the show off, but today, just saw this on Twitter just before we came on. Hall of Famer Wade Boggs has announced that he is battling prostate cancer.
Yeah, and obviously it is forever and always F cancer because cancer sucks. But yeah, sending all the love to Wade and his family as he begins this fight. And if Wade Boggs if we know Wade Boggs like we think we do, he's gonna kick this thing's butt because it's gonna serve him a fastball right down the middle.
Yeah. Wade's a fighter. Obviously, we wish him and his family all the best, and hopefully he hopefully he kicks its ass like we all know he can, and rings that damn bell. So I literally just saw that just as I was getting ready to come on. But anyways, we're here, we're on. It's Sunday afternoon for us. So welcome to all of you on the live stream. Welcome to all of you listening to this on replay. So that kind of sucks. Anyways, lots to talk about. First and foremost, obviously we start normally with the poll results. But in the meantime, we're live. We live like we are every Sunday at 8thinningpod.com/livestream, on demand wherever you get your podcasts, anytime at linktree/8thinningstretch. Don't forget to give us a follow on Twitter at 8thinningpod, and for more, including our newsletter blog, Two Strike Count, and our original documentary series, The Book of Baseball, head to 8thinningpod.com. And help us continue making the best indie baseball content this side of home plate by supporting the show using the QR code on your screen or at 8thinningpod.com/donate. And if you're watching/listening just on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Some of you may have noticed that there was not a new two-strike count this past Friday. That's because this is my, today's the end of it, but this has been my birthday weekend. So, yes. Oh, stop it. So I've been celebrating and hanging out with friends and having a good time. Went and saw Green Day last night. Yes, they were, for those of you who have never had the chance to see them, please, if you get the chance, please do that. Because they're awesome. They put on an awesome show. Even now that they're all in their 50s, which is crazy and makes me feel old because the tour they're on now is celebrating the 20th anniversary of American Idiot. Great album. Their best album, if you ask me. And the 30th anniversary of their album Dookie, which, that makes me feel really old. But anyways, so that's why there was no two-strike count this week. Poll results. We asked you guys which stretch run storyline are you most excited for. 44% of you said the wild card races. 40% of you said the award races, MVP, Rookie of the Year, and whatnot. 13% of you said the division races, and the mysterious other got 3% of the vote. These poll results, Carson, are quite telling, considering that the division races are, I wouldn't say all but over, but the division races are nowhere near as close as the wild card races.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of these division races at this point seem pretty much locked up, and we've been talking about it for a few different episodes now about how these wild card races are really what you're going to be wanting to look at, with the exception probably of the Yankees and the Orioles, because apparently neither one of those teams wants to pass each other, but
Nope.
it's fine.
Yeah, only a half game separating them. The Yankees are half a game up on the Orioles currently. Yeah, I mean, the AL Central race is still pretty, only 3.5 games between the Guardians and the Royals. And your Twins are only 5 games back. So that one's not quite sewn up yet. I don't even want to talk about the AL West because it's going to make me mad. Yeah, the Phillies, comfortable lead over the Mets, 7 games. The Brewers have, the Brewers are 10 games up on the Cubs. NL West, Dodgers are 5 games up on the Padres, 6.5 up on the D-backs. So that one's not quite out of reach, but it's getting there. But yeah, these wild card races, man. Like you said, we've been talking about it pretty much, for most of the season now. American League wild card. The 3 current wild card teams are the Orioles, the Royals, and the Twins. My Red Sox are 4 games out. The Tigers are 4.5 games. The Mariners 4.5 games. And then it kind of drops off after that. Rays 6 games. Rangers 7.5. And then the National League wildcard teams are the Padres, the D-backs, and the Mets. The Braves are only a game behind the Mets. Wow, how about that? How about the Braves? If the season ended today, Carson, the Braves would not make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy to think about. Like, that's insane.
Yet someone bearing a striking resemblance to myself said last week that the Braves were not going to make the playoffs.
Yes, you did. Yes.
I mean, I know they're only
to make my first Green Day reference of the show, it all keeps adding up, but I think I'm cracking up.
Better get used to those, because, ladies and gentlemen, Carson has promised me he's going to make as many Green Day puns as he can. No, but seriously, I mean, I know it's only a game, but wow, to see the Braves on the outside looking in is nuts. And then I guess the Cubs are technically still in it, 6 games out. The Cardinals, 6 games out. Good for the Cardinals for finally turning it around, I guess. And then it's back to the Giants, 8.5 games, and then everyone else is pretty much out of it. So it's not really looking like in the American League, there's only a couple teams realistically, the Red Sox, the Tigers, and I guess the Mariners, who are still in the hunt for a spot. And then the National League, it's pretty much the Braves. The Cubs, 6 games out at this point is a long way to go. But we're getting down to the point where this is going to be about, these races are going to be about positioning and not who's in or who's out.
Yeah, a lot of this now is going to come down to trying to jockey to get yourself in the best position.
Right.
Obviously, we've seen it time and time again especially with the wild card. Those matchups are a huge deal for some of these teams. Let's be clear, everybody. Managers very much know who their teams match up well against and who they wouldn't match up well against. So that is very much in play here, as all of these teams are jockeying for position, jockeying for potentially trying to unseat one of these teams that are currently holding a wild card spot. It's all very much still in play.
And the division leaders trying to jockey for those top 2 spots, which I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I'm a manager, I don't want one of those top 2 spots. I don't want a first round bye, because that means I'm going to sit around for a week and have plenty of time to get rusty.
Yeah. There's all the potential in the world for rust there. So it'll be, but at the same time, for some teams, a lot of it, a lot of those top 2 spots too, if you've got somebody who recently was injured, maybe you've got a little bit of time to just let them heal up, get prepared for that matchup, whatever it may be.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. ever since we went to the expanded format, we've seen. I mean, last year it was the Braves. You know, they won 100 and something games. They got the first round bye. They sat around and they ended up, you know, they lost. They lost to the Phillies in the division series. But yeah, the injury thing, that's a valid point. But personally, no, it's like getting a number one seed in March Madness. Like, yeah, okay, cool, you got a number one seed. You know, that's not always getting the number one seed isn't always a guarantee of a championship. So,
very, very true.
Yeah. I mean, how many number one seeds have actually won March Madness? Like, it's, so. But anyways, that's where things stand. So if the season ended today, the Yankees and Guardians would get this, would be the top two seeds. They'd get that first round bye in the American League. The wild card series would be Astros Twins. Oh, I'm sorry, Twins fans and Carson. And Orioles Royals. Wow, sign me up for that series. National League Dodgers and Phillies would get the byes. Wild card series would be Brewers Mets and Padres D-backs. Again, sign me up for that Padres D-back series.
Yeah, absolutely. Please and thank you.
Deja vu for the Brewers. Having to, hosting that wild card series, because we all know how that went for the Brewers last year. So, anyways, that's the poll. Thank you guys as always for voting in the poll. We really appreciate you guys participating in that. We'll have a new poll question up for you ahead of next week's show. So keep an eye out for that. All right. Down to the meat and potatoes here. Matt Chapman. Obviously, Chapman was one of the he's a Scott Boras client. He was one of the ones who last winter sort of just kind of was just left hanging because Boras is a terrible agent and doesn't give a damn about his clients. Let's be honest, did not get a great deal. But now, just recently, Matt Chapman, Carson, signed a 6-year, $151 million contract that will make him the Giants' third baseman for the rest of the decade. So he finally got paid what he was worth. But this is really interesting because normally Scott Boras clients, they don't negotiate a deal before they hit free agency. They hit free agency and then they test the market. But Chapman did the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt Chapman, welcome to paradise. There's Green Day reference number 2.
Nice. We need if I had known you were going to do this, I would have had a counter on the screen. That would have been.
Well,
anyways,
we're so far at 2. Yes. But yes, absolutely got the bag.
Yeah, he did. And good for him. He deserves every penny of that.
Absolutely. He's been massive for the Giants this season. And you make an interesting point. Like, this is not something that is usual of Scott Boras clients. They let usually there's no time to set the world around because you know where they'll be found when free around. Boom, number 3. But yeah, usually you can find Scott Boras clients on the free agent market trying to get whatever deal done. It's very rare that you see Scott Boras clients, especially lately, sign extensions during the season.
Yeah, teams don't usually jump the open market with Scott Boras clients. So Chapman's deal last winter, 3 years, $54 million, ridiculous. That included player opt-outs after each of his first 2 seasons. So he could have opted out at the end of this season and tested the open market. But you know what? Good for Matt Chapman. Good for the Giants. this dude finally got paid what he's worth. Because folks, I know Matt Chapman doesn't get a lot of attention, or at least it seems he doesn't get a lot of attention. Matt Chapman is one of the best third basemen in baseball. Period. So he got paid what he was worth, finally. Good move for him. Good move for the Giants. But this is going to make things interesting for the other Scott Boras clients. Now, last week we talked about how Jordan Montgomery basically threw Scott Boras under the bus. I mean, well-deserved. And Blake Snell, another one of his clients, sort of came to his defense. So this is going to be interesting on how it impacts other Boras clients, because they pretty much all signed deals last winter that they can opt out of at the end of this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is one less Scott Boras client on the market now, and this will make for a very interesting free agency for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, Jordan Montgomery dropped Scott Boras like a bad habit after those disastrous negotiations last winter. So, this is gonna be really interesting, really, really interesting to see how this affects Boras's other clients this winter. But yeah, I mean, I can't stress enough how awesome, how great a move this is for everybody. For Chapman, for the Giants. Fun fact: this is the Giants' This is the second richest contract in Giants franchise history. Second richest contract in franchise history, behind some dude named Buster Posey.
Yeah, I think he was pretty good at baseball.
He was pretty good. He was pretty okay at baseball. Buster Posey signed a 9-year, $167 million deal in 2013. I mean, that really, to me, that really speaks to the Giants and how they feel about Matt Chapman. The fact that they gave him the second richest contract in franchise history behind their future Hall of Fame catcher.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Buster Posey, probably, arguably the best Giants player of, maybe the 2000s, like maybe the century, so far. But no, this is really something. I was just reading about the no bells or whistles in the extension. Chapman will earn $25 million each season through 2030. A $1 million signing bonus next year. Club's news release did not mention a no trade clause, although Chapman would secure that protection at the end of the 2028 season, when he would be a veteran with 10 years of service time. Yeah, it's less likely the Giants will find common ground with left-handed Blake Snell. You think? Another Boras client with an opt-out clause to take him off the open market as well. But it's a possibility if the club makes Snell a sufficiently compelling offer, perhaps in the wake of the Chapman news. The possibility of a Snell extension might burn the tiniest bit further. Yeah, no. Giants fans, I'll save you the agony and the ecstasy. Blake Snell will not be a Giant next year.
No, he will not.
No, Blake Snell's going to go. He's going to opt out. He's going to hit the open market, and somebody is going to, somebody quite frankly is going to probably overpay him. Because Blake Snell is not Blake Snell anymore.
Yeah.
So, sorry. That's just, Blake Snell that we have now he's not the same. So, but anyways, that's something to keep an eye on. As we sort of get ready to hit as we get ready to hit free agent season this winter. Completely changing gears. There's a disturbing trend developing in Major League Baseball, and that trend is these pitchers getting up there and reaching back and trying to throw 150 miles an hour and having zero control over their pitchers. Because Whit Merrifield of the Braves just recently became the latest, and for some reason the Braves have been like the biggest victims of this. But Merrifield, Carson, the latest in a string of Atlanta Braves players, hit by fastballs. Merrifield was plunked in the back of the head on Tuesday by Rockies rookie Jeff Criswell. And Merrifield has basically came out and said, look, enough is enough. Major League Baseball needs to do something about this before someone's seriously injured or worse. Merrifield said, where the game's at right now, it's just ridiculous. Merrifield was hit by a 94.5 mile an hour pitch in the back of the head. Ow. Ouch. Where the game's at now is just ridiculous. Leaving a welt just behind his left ear at the top of his neck. I hate where the game's at right now with that. Interestingly enough, Merrifield, a player rep on the MLB competition committee. That's interesting. Shouted at Criswell while being attended to on the field. And again, he was walking off with the Braves trainer. Merrifield passed concussion protocol test, but was on his way to a CT scan after the game to rule out internal injuries. Hit by a 1-0 fastball after Criswell missed way inside with a first pitch slider. Yeah, this is Merrifield is right. This is getting out of control. This has been a trend the last couple of years, and it's only gotten worse.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if pitchers have just decided to go into just V for Vendetta and just constantly have a vendetta against all batters, but they're kind of being American idiots currently. And there's number 4. But yeah, this is I don't know what caused this. It feels like every other day somebody's getting hit by a pitch. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's a control issue. I don't really know what's
well,
going on.
I think part of it is Whit Merrifield is right. Teams are putting some, especially with younger pitchers, teams are putting so much emphasis on velocity. They're telling these guys, look, you got to go out there, you got to reach back and throw 150 miles an hour. And when you're focused so much on velocity and spin rate and all that other stupid stuff, you're not going to be able to control where the ball's going. And that's not just a Major League Baseball problem. This is starting for these younger pitchers, when they're in high school. Hence the other disturbing trend of all these pitchers getting injured, blowing out their UCLs. I mentioned the Braves. Braves Travis d'Arnaud and Austin Riley were hit by up and in fastballs in consecutive games in August against the Angels. D'Arnaud missed 5 games with a forearm contusion, and Riley landed on the injured list with a broken hand. That's expected to sideline him for 6 to 8 weeks. Michael Harris II left an August 25th game after being hit in the hand with a fastball from Nationals rookie, there you go, DJ Hers, leading off the first inning and left the game a few innings later. No fracture there. He's lucky. Merrifield says, we lost Riley, we almost lost Mike, we almost lost D'Arnaud in a span of 2 or 3 weeks. The way pitchers are throwing now, there's no regard for throwing up and in. The guys are throwing as hard as they can. They don't care where the ball goes, and it's just bullshit. Well said, Whit.
Yeah, he pretty much hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. He goes on to say you can't hit a guy anymore in retaliation. This is kind of the part I like the best. There's no fear that, if I hit this guy, our guy's going to get hit. That's not in the game anymore. Pitchers don't have to hit anymore, so they don't have to stand in the box. True. And the teams are bringing pitchers up that don't know where the hell the ball is going. They throw 100 miles an hour, so it's all right. We'll see if he can get the guys out. Just set up down the middle and throw as hard as you can, and it's bullshit, and it's driving me nuts. That's a really good point about the whole, it used to be, I know some of you are too young to remember this, but it used to be, well, for one, in the National League, pitchers used to hit. The National League didn't always have the designated hitter. But it used to be, pitcher from team A would hit a batter from team B, and then, team A's best hitter would come up, and pitcher from team B would hit batter from team A in retaliation. That's not a thing anymore. And honestly, Carson, I'm glad that the start of the game, because as interesting as it could make things sometimes, and as fun as it was sometimes, especially with the Red Sox, the Yankees, plunking each other. Pedro Martinez, looking at you, buddy. And Bronson Arroyo. Hi, A-Rod. How you doing? Remember that? As much as that added whatever to the game, it was really dangerous, and I'm amazed that nobody ever got killed.
Yeah, the whole retaliation aspect was dangerous, just to put it bluntly. It's just dangerous, it's stupid, it's foolish. Like, I can't imagine, like, it's still wild to me that pitchers would intentionally throw a 90 whatever mile an hour ball at a person with the intent to hit them. Just
it was
crazy.
a thing. I know, it's mind-blowing to think about it now, but yeah, it was a thing. Yeah, so I'm glad that that's out of the game. But the sort of plot twist to this whole thing, Carson, is Whit Merrifield is on the competition committee. He's on the rules committee. And he says it's going to be a long conversation of what we've got to do to make pitchers think about it. I just took 95 right off the head. I'm very lucky that it got me in a good spot, and I've got to go get a CAT scan. I'm out of the game. He gets to stay in to pitch. I'm probably not going to be able to play tomorrow. Yeah. Hello, competition committee, rules committee. You need to do something about this.
Yeah, and like Whit said, I think at this point it's like control is not something that they want to focus on at first with young pitchers. It's all about getting that velocity up
and the spin rate.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, those things are great, but without control, you're not a good pitcher.
Like, you're Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn.
Exactly. Like, you are the Wild Thing before he puts glasses on.
But I was gonna say, even Wild Thing learned control.
You are Wild Thing before he puts glasses on and realizes, oh, I was just completely blind.
Yeah.
And they're trying to take people's heads off.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just sort of scanning this piece here. Merrifield goes on to say no repercussion on his part, and I mean without being overly dramatic. That was my life on the line right there. I don't think he's being overly dramatic at all, because if one of these 150 mile an hour, screw fastball, whatever these kids are calling their, whatever stupid names they're calling their pitches now, if one of these pitches hits somebody in the wrong spot, and I know they wear batting helmets, but if one of these hits somebody in the wrong spot, I mean, yeah, I suppose it's possible that it would, in a worst case scenario, somebody could get killed, but somebody could get really hurt. We could be talking about somebody being paralyzed if it hits them in the right spot, in the neck.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's scary as all hell. Yeah, nobody wants that. Merrifield goes on to say, so I'm sick of it. It's happening way too much. I watched Taylor Ward get hit in the face last year. True. Taylor Ward had to get reconstructive surgery. Justin Turner got hit in the face last year. It's happening at an exponential rate. Guys are getting hit in the hand. Mookie Betts got his hand broken this year. It's just ridiculous, and it has to be fixed, or God forbid, something terrible is going to happen. If this hits me at a different spot, I mean, it's just pathetic. It's frankly pathetic that some of the pitchers that were running out there don't know where the ball's going at the major league level. Facts. It's got to be fixed. It just pisses me off to no end. Bravo, Whit Merrifield. It's refreshing to see a player speak out about this, because a lot of times we don't see players speak up about stuff like this.
No, not very often, because they're for whatever reason just decide to keep their mouth shut. But yeah, Whit Merrifield said, "Nah, F that. I need to talk about this."
Good for him. I have a new respect for Whit Merrifield. No, but seriously, he's absolutely right. Something's got to be done. I don't know what that looks like. I mean, I might be being a little over dramatic here, but if you're a pitcher and you hit somebody, you throw up and in and you hit somebody, I don't know, like I don't know if we need to, like, if you hit somebody, is that an automatic ejection? I mean, I know usually the umpire will warn the pitcher and warn the dugout, but I mean, do we need to? Because sometimes it's an accident. Sometimes.
This is true.
Sometimes the ball, as a pitcher, sometimes the ball really does. I mean, you'll hear broadcasters say it. Sometimes the ball really does just get away from you. But I don't know. Like, in an instance like this, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah, I really have no idea. I think it's just got to start with bringing back the idea of control before velocity.
Yeah.
Because, like, some of the greatest pitchers of our lifetimes were not guys who could necessarily throw the ball fast, but had the control and were able to use that spin rate to make a curveball look like it was going to go 5 feet off the plate and then come inside. Like,
right.
That's how you become a good pitcher. You can pitch fast all you want, but that can only get you so far.
Well, I mean, I'm really gonna sound old here. I'm picturing that meme of, old man yells at cloud. I promise that's not what I'm doing, but that's what I'm gonna sound like. Carson, a lot of these, again, we're not talking about the veteran guys, the veteran pitchers who have been around. These are these young pitchers that are coming up through through the high school ranks, through college, and up through the farm system. They're getting drilled into them from day one. It's all about velocity. It's all about spin rate. Their coaches and whoever aren't spending any time working with them on their control. And sorry, I forgot my point there for a second. And the problem is these young pitchers, they're not pitching anymore. They're not going out there and pitching. They're going out there and throwing, and there's a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge, huge difference.
Again, I don't mean to keep going back to the age thing, but guys like, going back a little further, guys like Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux, and, I mean, I could rattle off a who's who of pitching greats. Those guys were pitchers. Yes, some of them could throw really hard. I mean, I would challenge any of you to stand there and stare down a Pedro Martinez fastball. But it wasn't all about, reaching back and throwing 150 miles an hour. It was, they focused on control. They focused on putting the ball where they wanted to put it. And that's mostly because of freaking stupid ass analytics. That's all pretty much gone out the window at this point.
Don't even get me started on analytics. Oh my god!
Don't get me wrong. Analytics has its place in sports,
of course.
But when it affects the game, when it changes the game to the point where players are getting hurt, and remember, pitchers are getting hurt too. Carson, how many times this year have we talked about pitchers blowing out their UCLs? I mean, a lot. Pitchers are getting hurt, and now, and batters are getting hurt and it's because these high school and college coaches and even in the minor leagues, all they're looking at is analytics. Oh, what's this guy's spin rate? Oh, what's his velocity? Who cares? Teach them to put the ball in the right place. Teach them control. Like, I can't believe we even have to say that.
Yeah, at a certain point, you got to have discipline as a pitcher.
It's ridiculous. And I'm glad Whit Merrifield spoke up. I'm glad he spoke to the media about this, because it is a problem. We don't need, as a sport, the last thing we need is players. I mean, you never want to see anyone get hurt. But we don't need, pitchers getting hurt, and especially, and we've seen some veteran pitchers get hurt, with their UCLs and whatnot. I mean, Shohei Ohtani, hello. But this is even more dangerous for the young pitchers, Carson, because if you're 20 something and you blow up your UCL in single A, guess what? Your chances of coming back from that are slim to none, because you haven't had time to build up those muscles.
Yeah, it's a major problem. That's for sure.
We're gonna see career-ending injuries for rookies, which is just makes me sick. But I don't know. I guess that's where we're at right now. But whatever. So that's that. I have the oddest feeling, Carson, that this story, at least I hope, is not going away.
Yeah, this story right now is far from over, I think.
And I would fully expect, because I know Whit Merrifield is the one that spoke up, but especially because he's on the competition committee, I would fully expect the MLB Competition Rules Committee to take a long, hard look at that this winter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they better, because otherwise, I hate to think where things are going to end up. Another ongoing saga involving Major League Baseball. This whole Diamond Sports thing. Talk about stories that are going away. Carson, I feel like we've been talking about Diamond Sports for like the last, at least the last couple of years.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah, at least the last couple of years. So just a little recap to get anyone caught up who's not been following this story. Diamond Sports Group is a broadcasting company. They operate 18 Bally Sports branded regional sports networks. They operate Bally Sports networks for NBA and NHL and MLB. 9 MLB teams are currently still under contract with Diamond for 2025. The problem with Diamond is they've basically gone bankrupt. Like the wheels have come off, and because of their bankruptcy, it is completely thrown what channel these teams' games are going to carry it on, completely thrown into chaos. Carson, including your Minnesota Twins.
Yep, it seems that once again we will have to live and die based off of Diamond Sports' success. And at this point, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't understand how MLB isn't doing something about this, because at the end of the day, let's just face facts here. In terms of the four major sports, I think it's safe to say that MLB is fourth, and it's probably not even close.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be able to have the game accessible to your fans. So I'm glad that they're at least starting to do something, but this should have been action that should have been taken a long time ago before this situation spiraled out of control like it has.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is ridiculous. Like, I mean, like you said, if your fans can't watch your games, if your fans can't watch their favorite team, or, like Carson, like you and I, being baseball uber geeks. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't just watch the Red Sox. I watch the Red Sox, I watch the Mariners, but I watch, any good, any intriguing game that's on, we need to be able to watch it. So here's the deal. Judge Chris Lopez on Tuesday approved deals that Diamond reached with the NBA and the NHL, calling them a step in the right direction. But contained in those agreements is a key date that has put MLB on the offensive. Both require to come out of so basically, Diamond is required to come out of bankruptcy by April 1st. I don't know how good you guys are with dates, but that's shortly after baseball season begins. So essentially, Carson, the position that the owners of these 9 teams, the owners of these teams that are in this position is, they don't know what their TV revenue is going to be like. So they don't know the amount that they can spend in free agency this winter is basically hanging in the balance. Carson. Hello?
Oh, hello.
Oh, there he is.
Sorry, that was weird. You cut out for a second and I didn't hear you anymore, and I was like,
Okay. All right. Little glitch. It's all good. Yeah, so basically, because of Diamond Sports, the owners of these 9 teams don't know what their TV revenue is going to be, and therefore how much they can or can't spend in free agency this winter is basically being held hostage by Diamond Sports.
Yeah, except for the Twins, who, as we all know, the Triple P's will somehow manage to make the budget even lower. But yeah, absolutely insane. Like, it's classic Major League Baseball, because it's the A for effort and F for execution. Because you set this deadline after, like you said, after free agency, after winter meetings, like after all of that stuff. Like, by that point, the only dudes who will be on the free agent market are Johnny Cueto for the 11th time, for the 11th time, and Rich Hill also seemingly for the 11th time.
Come on, don't pick on Rich.
I got to pick on Rich. He's 44. He's one of the guys that is like sitting there on the free agent market, and the team's like, yeah, sure, we'll give you a go again. Like, I love Rich Hill. He played for the Twins too. I love Rich Hill, but he's one of those. Him and Johnny Cueto are one and the same when it comes to the free agent market. But it's like, it's the MLB in this is the Simpsons meme of Bart Simpson holding the cake that said, "At least you tried." Yeah. And then walking over and throwing said cake in the trash.
Yeah. And to be fair, yes, MLB definitely deserves their fair share of blame in this thing. But this is also, this is on a lot of the blame for this falls on Diamond Sports. So James Bromley, a lawyer for MLB, had this to say in court on Tuesday. Major League Baseball and those clubs are unable to plan to obtain revenue and to have certainty with respect to the 2025 season. Judge Lopez approved the deal. Brownlee went on to say, we can't go on and face our 2025 season in the first and second quarter of next year. The time to face the 2025 season is today. We need the court's attention on this issue. We need the debtor, Diamond Sports, to be committed to doing this with speed in the short time frame that I just described. And frankly, if it doesn't happen, we obviously reserve our rights to come back for relief, including more drastic relief that we've looked at in the past. So basically, Carson, MLB's lawyers are saying to Diamond, look, you need to get your shit together, and if you don't, there's gonna be trouble.
Yeah, big time. And but again, like I want to know that the league has a backup plan, because if Diamond Sports calls their bluff and they don't have a backup plan, then MLB looks like chumps.
Right. And for all and we've talked about this before, for all the faults that the NFL has, and Lord knows they have their faults. I mean, come on. What even was that game in Brazil the other night?
That game was brutal.
It was terrible. The game was terrible. God. The broadcast was terrible. The stadium was terrible. The field conditions were frankly appalling.
Hold on. I'm not going to let you hate on my guy, Noah Eagle. I love me some Noah Eagle.
Oh God, dude, the broadcast was so boring. It was more boring than watching paint dry. I'm sorry.
Why you got to hate on my guy, Noah Eagle?
I don't know, man. Like, I've heard him do other stuff. Didn't he do basketball during the Olympics? Was that him?
I think so.
I think he did.
Him or his dad.
I think it was him, and he was great. He was fantastic. Him and Dwayne Wade doing basketball during the Olympics they were awesome. But oh my God, it was pretty much unwatchable, not just because of the broadcasters, but just the whole experience. But anyways, my point is the NFL has more than its fair share of problems. However, one thing the NFL has done right, and it pains me to give Roger Goodell any kind of credit, Carson, but one thing the NFL has done right, they nationalized their TV rights. Yes, I know NFL Sunday Ticket is ridiculously expensive, but the NFL, if you are an NFL fan and you want to watch your favorite team, or you want to watch out-of-market games, the NFL is probably the most accessible of the four major sports in that aspect.
Yeah, I would agree 100%.
So why the hell can't MLB, and I know, yes, I know, I hear you all. I know the process is more complicated than just snapping your fingers, but why the hell can't MLB do the same thing? MLB already has the platform. They already have MLB TV. You're telling me that they can't come up with some sort of, okay, Twins fans, you want to watch your Twins? Here, pay, however much a month or however much for the season, and watch all 162 games of the Twins. You're telling me that, come on, it can't be that hard.
And I'd be fine with that.
Right, everybody would.
Because I would be able to watch the Twins again. What a concept.
What? No, the most infuriating thing about watching MLB is not only fans not being able to watch their own teams because of stupid blackouts, but again, there are some of us who we like to watch, multiple games. I mean, I do it. I put on the MLB TV and I put on the, the multi-view, whatever, and put on 4 games at once because I'm a nerd like that. But a situation now, granted, the only time I run into any problems is if my Red Sox or the Mariners are playing the Rockies, because I'm here in Colorado and Rockies games are blacked out. That That's the most infuriating part of this. Why are local teams' games blacked out in the local market? Carson, it doesn't make any sense.
You are preaching to the choir on that one. Like the Twins will be on MLB Network, and I'll be like, "Oh, great!
And you can't watch
I can finally watch my team." Nope. The only way I could watch them is if they're on Apple TV, because for some reason that doesn't have blackouts, and you want to talk about a bad broadcast.
Bad broadcast. Yeah.
Can watch them there. Can watch them the 2 times a year they're on Fox or TBS, and that's about it.
Yeah. Or on the rare occasion that they're on Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN.
Yeah, I don't even remember the last time we were on that.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. Well, you can commiserate with Mariners fans, because the last time the Mariners were on Sunday Night Baseball prior to a couple weeks ago was 2001. Like, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah, don't even get me started on that. No, but this whole thing is, and I know, there's plenty of blame to go around here. Diamond Sports deserves its fair share of blame. MLB deserves its fair share of blame. But it's not like MLB didn't know that this was coming. Diamond Sports has been in trouble for a while. So, and they just decided to do nothing. I don't know, man. I know, like I said, I know it's easier said than done. I know there's a lot of moving parts, but I really don't understand. I mean, the other 4 major sports have done it. The NBA, probably most of all, has made their games, accessible to their fans. I mean, if you're an NBA fan, watching NBA games is a breeze. I don't understand why. I don't understand how MLB has let it get to this point. But the biggest issue, I mean, obviously, fans having accessibility to watch their favorite teams, obviously that's a big issue. But the bigger, maybe, well, I don't know about bigger, but the other major issue of this thing is the 9 MLB teams under contract with Diamond, if Diamond still exists for the 2025 season, are the Braves, the Reds, the Tigers, the Royals, the Angels, the Marlins, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Rays. 3 other teams, the Guardians, Carson, your Twins, and the Texas Rangers, are still on 1-year deals with Diamond that expire after this season. All those teams I just mentioned, no idea what their TV revenue is going to be like, and therefore they can't plan their contract negotiations and their free agent status. This thing is at the point where it's going to start affecting the quality of the product on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it already has, at least for my Twins.
For your Twins, yeah, absolutely.
And a big part of why we had to let Sonny Gray go was because of this.
Yep, exactly. I mean, let's be honest. To be fair, teams like the Angels, the Marlins, probably the Rays, they're not going to be spending anything anyways, because they don't give a crap. Nobody, Angels, Marlins, Rays, yeah, whatever. But some of these are, I mean, the Braves, the Royals, the Brewers, even the Cardinals, the Guardians, the Twins, the Rangers, the soon to be ex-World Series champion Rangers. Sorry, Rangers fans. These are not necessarily big market. I mean, Atlanta is a big market, and obviously, LA is, even though the Angels are awful. But this is affecting teams. This is affecting teams in all parts of the the market spectrum.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's just sad.
I hate to sound cynical, but I think the only way MLB is going to get serious about this is if this affects, which it won't, because most of the big market teams, the Yankees, the Red Sox, they have their own, like the Red Sox have NESN, the Yankees have the Yes Network. I was going to say the only way I think MLB will really get serious about this is if, it affects one of their marquee teams. But yeah, and I'm glad MLB is finally like, okay, Diamond, you got to get your shit together here. But I don't know. I don't know how much faith I have in MLB in fixing this. But they better, because, like you mentioned before, MLB is falling behind in popularity among the four major sports.
Yeah, it's falling behind big time. And again, it's a lot of it is because the league has kind of shot themselves in the foot when it comes to this TV thing, when it comes to Diamond Sports, when it comes to, we could have an entire episode dedicated to how MLB has messed up the promotion of their game over the years.
Yeah.
But this is just the latest layer of the ever mounting shit sandwich that the MLB has created from promoting the
game. Yeah, so real quick, just to wrap up here, Bromley says this is the fourth season in a row that Major League Baseball is heading into the offseason with a complete lack of information and clarity with respect to what's going to happen. MLB. Wow. MLB and the Players Association recently agreed on a change to the collective bargaining agreement that allows the commissioner's office to distribute funds to teams who have recently taken reductions in their TV rights fees. I mean, at least that's something. That's why we need a salary cap, people. Union told its players to agree to the change on the belief it would help player spending. Yeah. MLB last week sent the letter to the court criticizing the lack of transparency around the terms of the NBA and NHL deals, which are filed under seal. Diamond told the court it has paid MLB teams about 90% of what they are owed for the 2024 season. Hey, idiots, 90% isn't 100%. And plans to pay the remainder on time. Yeah, right. Diamond said it made a $60 million payment to MLB teams on August 30th. And roughly $78 million is still to come. Then back to yeah, blah 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 blah. Yeah, what a just a mess. Just an absolute mess. And I don't know, I could see something like this happening, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, maybe. When cable was still, when cable was still sort of the predominant, when cable was still king, and and there weren't alternatives. I don't know, Carson. I don't know if somebody needs to remind MLB cable is dead. Streaming is the new thing, and there are plenty of options. There are plenty of alternatives out there for broadcasting your games.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a mess. Well, stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because talk about a story that's not going away, unfortunately. Hopefully something gets done. Hopefully MLB, Carson, hopefully MLB follows through on their on their thinly veiled threat to take further legal action against Diamond if Diamond doesn't follow through. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I don't like where that's going if they don't. All right. Changing gears here. Let's play some buy or sell. Because I'm just getting angrier by the second talking about this. Yeah, let's play some buy or sell. Shohei Ohtani creeping up on the first ever 50-50 season. 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. So cars to buy or sell that Shohei Ohtani will reach the 50-50 mark.
Oh, it's I love my boy Shohei, but I gotta sell this. I don't think he's gonna get there. He'll get close. He'll certainly get close, I think, but I don't think he's gonna get there.
Wow, I'm actually kind of shocked. I thought this was gonna be one of your shut up and take my money. So Shohei Ohtani has 45 home runs, 46 steals. He has 21 games left to get to the 50-50 mark. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I know he only needs 5 home runs and 4 stolen bases in 21 games. But that can be that doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually can be a lot. Even though apparently, according to this, he's on pace for 51 homers and 53 steals. But yeah, no, I think I gotta sell this. Unless him hitting 50-50, he's got himself on a multi-leg parlay. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But no, I don't think so. Whoops. Hang on. Sorry. So John Sterling, legendary longtime voice of the Yankees, retired. Has been retired for a while now. Retired, I think, at the beginning earlier this year, right? The beginning of this season, he retired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
April 15th. Apparently has changed his mind and is temporarily coming out of retirement to call Yankees playoff games this fall, this October. So buy or sell Sterling unretiring to call Yankees playoff games.
I mean, cool, I guess. Like if it's temporarily cool, but I hate the concept of retiring and then coming out of retirement, a la, even though it helped my football team, a la Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. I have to sell this based on, like, once you're retired, man, like, enjoy your retirement. Like, John Sterling has earned that retirement, but
he has.
if he's coming back for the love of the game, I can't stop him. I personally think, you've earned it. Just enjoy the retirement.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be. We're probably gonna be labeled haters for this, but no, I'm selling this too. Like you said, the whole unretiring thing. I'm getting, Brett Favre, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady vibes here. Like you retired. I mean, like you said, if anyone has earned every second of their retirement to enjoy it, it's John Sterling. Yeah. Athletes and players and sports figures retiring and then unretiring and then retiring again and then unretiring and retiring and unretiring. That annoys me almost as much as when a character is killed off in a TV show or a movie, and then mostly TV shows. Movies sort of do it, but TV shows do it a lot. They kill off a character, they kill off a favorite character, and then the next episode or the next season, oh hey, look, they weren't really dead. That was their doppelganger, or whatever stupid narrative reason they come up for. This annoys me almost.
Plot line in TV, by the way.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, looking at you, Stranger Things. You killed Hopper and then you brought him back. Yeah, like don't make us go through the emotional trauma of seeing one of our favorite characters die, only to cop out and be like, just kidding. or this whole plot line of this episode was a dream. That's another one of my least personal favorites. So anyways, yeah, come on, John, like, dude, just enjoy your retirement. I mean, I'm sure Yankees fans are probably happy about this, I would think.
Oh, I'm sure, and they have every right to be like,
they get a little more,
like we said. By no means are we saying that John Sterling is not a good broadcaster or anything like that.
Oh no, not at all.
He's one of the greatest of all time in terms of calling baseball. But it's just, you're retired, John. Go ahead, you earned it. Like,
just stay retired.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so earlier we were talking about, we're kind of talking about the standings, which I no longer have pulled up. Hang on. No, that's not the one I wanted. Sorry, everybody. I closed the tab. Division. Here we go. We're talking about the standings. We're talking about the wildcard races, the division races. The NL East currently, the Philadelphia Phillies, 7 games up of the New York Mets, but the Mets are occupying the third and final wildcard spot in the National League currently. So Carson, buy or sell I know this sounds crazy. Buy or sell the Mets' chances of catching the Phillies.
Look, I understand that the Mets have won 9 in a row, and yes, that's very impressive, but you're still 7 games back of the Phillies, even after a 9-game win streak. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and have a yard sale on this one because I'm selling the crap out of this.
Well, let's do a little math here. There's 7 games out. There's 20. Let's say there's 20 games left, right? How many more times? See, the key to this is how many more times do they play head to head? So let's peruse the schedule here. So they actually, let's see.
Looks like they got a 3-game series that starts this Friday.
And then a 4-game series, which starts on the 19th. I mean, I don't know. No, I'm selling this. I'm tentatively selling this because it is a long shot. 7 games is a lot of ground to make up at this point with only, like I said, 20 games left. And it's highly unlikely that the Mets would win all 7 of those games against the Phillies. But hey, man, it's baseball. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, that's true. I don't
think it's gonna happen. I'm not going on the record as saying as I'm selling, and I'm going on the record. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I wouldn't be surprised either because, again, stranger things have happened. I mean, look at the Mets. The Mets' remaining schedule. They got 3 games against the Blue Jays, 3 against the Phillies, 3 against the Nationals, sweep. 4 against the Phillies, 3 against the Braves, and then they end the series again. They end the season against the Brewers. That's a tough. That's some tough sledding. But if we look at the Phillies' remaining schedule, what do the Phillies got left? Here we go. Phillies remaining games: 3 games against the Rays, sweep. 3 games against the Mets, 3 games against the Brewers, 4 games against the Mets, 3 games against the Cubs, and then they end the season on the road against the Nationals, sweep. I don't know, man. Those 2 schedules are pretty even. No, I'm still gonna sell this, but let's just say I would not be surprised because stranger things have happened in baseball. Speaking of standings, the NL West, the Dodgers, they're like 6 games up, I think. So Carson, buy or sell that a team other than the Dodgers will win the NL West.
So, like,
Wow.
come on. No. We're fine. We've got the NL West under control. We are still the big brother. Everybody else is still chasing us.
Do they really have it under control?
Yes, we do.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said 6 games. They're only 5 games up. Okay, Dodgers, you've won 7 of your last 10. You're 5 games up with 20 games to go. How many more times do they have to play the Dodgers? Let's see, Dodgers remaining schedule. Oh, okay. So, good news, Dodgers fans. You don't have to play the D-backs again, at least for the rest of the regular season. 3 games against the Cubs, 3 games against the Braves, 3 games against the Marlins, sweep. 3 games against the Rockies, sweep. 3 games against the Padres. And then they end the season with 3 games on the road against the Rockies, sweep. Wow. Jeez, Dodgers. Talk about a cupcake schedule.
See, we're fine.
But, however, let's see. Padres remaining schedule. So we know they've got to play the Dodgers 3 times. Padres remaining schedule. 2 games against the Mariners. Okay. 3 games against the Giants. All right. 3 against the Astros. 3 against the White Sox. 3 against the Dodgers. And they end the season on the road against the D-backs. Okay. That's a little bit tougher. And then the D-backs remaining schedule. Let's see. 2 games against the Rangers, 3 against the Brewers, 3 against the Rockies, 4 against the Brewers, 3 against the Giants, and then they end the season with 3 against the Padres. Wow. Okay. Yes. So the Dodgers. Basically, the point is here, the Dodgers have a cupcake schedule the rest of the way. Surprise, surprise.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
I don't know, man. 5 games is not a lot. And they're 5 games up on the Padres. They're 6.5 up on the D-backs. And the fact that they have to play the Padres again head to head. You know what? Screw it. I'm buying. The Padres are going to win the NL West.
I still think they're going to need an actual Padre in order to get that to happen. But...
no, buying conditionally, because if the Padres are within striking distance for that last series, so this is going to be a wild finish, because that last series, between those last couple series, when the Padres play the Dodgers and then the Padres play the Diamondbacks, that could very well determine the outcome of this thing. Admittedly, the D-backs are back to scuffling. They've lost 3 in a row. Padres, okay, 5-5 in their last 10. If the Padres are within striking distance of the Dodgers, when that last series comes around, I would not be surprised. And come on, it's time. Come on, everybody. It's time for the Dodgers' reign of terror to end in the NL West. Please. D-backs, Padres, somebody, please knock these guys off. Because the rest of us, except my illustrious co-host, are sick of it.
I'm Jay chillin'. I'm living life in
but
that
hey, at least we know, even if the Dodgers do win the division, we know they're not going anywhere. They're going to choke in the playoffs like they always do. So, hey, at least there's that. There's that little comfort that we can all take comfort in. Anyways. All right. Mailbag time. Mailbag. Don't forget to drop us a line at 8thinningpod.com/mailbag or 8thinningsrush@gmail.com, and we might just read your message on an upcoming episode. We lead off today's mailbag with Danny R. With the playoffs getting closer, yes, objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. Which AL and NL team will be the most dangerous in October?
Oh, that's most dangerous. Okay. Well, assuming that I'm strictly going to talk, of course, in teams that are in the playoffs right now.
Fair enough.
I really hate saying this, but I do not sleep on the Cleveland Guardians come the postseason. Like, everybody's slept on them so far. I have a feeling they'll get slept on again. Do not sleep on that team. That team is loaded from top to bottom. There is a reason why they're leading the AL Central. They are going to be dangerous to watch. In the NL,
Don't do it.
who is going to be the most dangerous in the NL?
Not the Dodgers.
Gee, I wonder. What team has the most stacked roster, top to bottom, in the NL?
Which team's pitching staff has more holes in it than Swiss cheese?
But whose offense has enough plugs to cover said Swiss cheese hole and turn it into a nice chunk of cheddar?
God.
Ladies and gentlemen, you bet your bottom dollar that the Dodgers are the most dangerous team in the National League. How can you look at that lineup and say that they're not? Forget the past postseason miscues. As everybody says, the postseason, you start 0-0, clean slate every time around. This Dodgers team is ready to go. Yes, the pitching staff certainly has a lot of holes and has some issues, but the Dodgers will have that bye to get guys rested up. The pitching
sit around
staff
and
is
get
going to come
rusty.
in primed. The pitching staff is going to come in primed and ready to go. We're going to have the National League MVP. You bet your bottom dollar. I'm calling it right now. Shohei Ohtani will be your National League MVP. Not even a close race at this point anymore. With Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez will hopefully be back after his injury. Life is good as a Dodger fan. Dodger fans, stand up, because this is our time to prove once again that this team is dangerous.
To prove once again that they're the biggest frauds in baseball. I'm glad you said 0-0 because that's precisely how many games the Dodgers are going to win in the playoffs this year. Yawn. Yeah. Yes, Dodgers fans, you can talk all you want about your offense, but we all know when it comes down to October baseball, pitching and defense win championships, and you don't have either one of those. So good luck with that. No, American League most dangerous. I mean, I'm tempted to go Guardians, but Carson already said the Guardians. I will see your Cleveland Guardians, and I will raise you a Kansas City Royals.
Also very dangerous, yes.
Yeah, the Royals have a look. The Royals have the look of one of those teams that you do not want on your side of the bracket. Talk about stacked from top to bottom, pitching, defense, offense, everything. They got it all. Complete team. Yeah, the Royals could really go on a run. Even if they do have to face the Orioles in the first round, which would be no small task.
Also, sign me up for that series, by the way.
I know, right? Except the Orioles have. I would, if that were the series, like if that's that wild card series, give me the Royals because the back end of that Orioles bullpen is atrocious.
Yeah.
Craig Kimbrell. Yeah. So, yeah. Royals in the American League, National League. I'm looking at the National League teams, and I'm not really concerned about any of those top. I mean, the Dodgers are going to Dodger. The Phillies, I don't know, man. The Phillies, yeah, something doesn't feel right about the Phillies. The Phillies are obviously really good, but something just, I don't know. The Brewers. The Brewers, I don't know what to make of them. Most dangerous team in the NL. If the playoffs started today, Carson would be the San Diego Padres. You want to talk about a team that's stacked. And I don't know why more people aren't talking about this team, because they are really, really freaking good. And they are the very definition of a team you do not want to face in the playoffs.
They are particularly loaded as well, yes. I will concede that.
I would argue that they're just as loaded as the Dodgers, and they have better pitching.
One could make that argument. I will concede that.
In any case, if things stay the way they are, which they probably won't, but if they do, also sign me up for that Padres Diamondbacks first round series. Wow. And don't sleep on the Diamondbacks, everybody. I know the Diamondbacks have been a little bit all over the place this year, and they're currently back to their, they've lost 3 in a row and 7 of their last 10, but don't forget what the D-backs did last year. I'm not saying they're going to do it again this year, but don't forget what they did last year. I feel like a lot of people have already written them off, and I'm like, did you all forget what they did last year? Plus, they basically have the same team that they did last year. Plus, they had a Jordan Montgomery. So, excuse me. Anyways,
not that he had the greatest season of all time.
No, but he's already proven himself in October. He proved himself last year. So, I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting for sure. Jenny M, if you had a Hall of Fame ballot, would you vote for Joey Votto?
Oh. Was that an as in you wouldn't?
Nope.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Well, let me pull up. So, taking a look at Joey Votto's stats, he has 2,135 hits, 1,100 RBI, 356 home runs, career batting average of 294. In terms of accolades, won an MVP, a 6-time All-Star, and a Gold Glove winner. Led the National League several times in on-base percentage and in walks. Yeah, his stats don't really measure up, do they?
Mm-mm.
As much as I would love to say they do, I can't say I would right now.
So Baseball Reference has this really cool thing called Hall of Fame Statistics, where they show, they compare the player stats to the average Hall of Fame voter. Yeah. And it doesn't. So similarity, and this other really cool thing they call similarity scores, where they compare said player to current or past players. Similar batters, according to Baseball Reference, to Joey Votto: Freddie Freeman, Paul Goldschmidt, Will Clark, Derek Lee, Edgar Martinez, Hall of Famer, Matt Holliday, Lance Berkman, Ellis Burks, Adrian Gonzalez, and Orlando Cepeda, also Hall of Famer. The fact that there's only 2 current Hall of Famers on the similarity list, Carson, says to me that Joey Votto is not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, the odds are definitely against him. There's a couple of potentially future Hall of Famers on that list, like potentially a Paul Goldschmidt or an Adrian Gonzalez, but
yeah, Freddie Freeman, no. I don't see Freddie Freeman. Yeah, you're right. Matt, how the hell? I'm sorry. How is Matt Holliday not in the Hall of Fame? Really?
it's a very good question.
Okay. That doesn't make any sense. But no, Joey Votto, I just no. And the fact that and this isn't obviously this isn't entirely his fault, but not a lot of playoff experience either.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely not his fault. I mean, look where he was. In fact, only 4 postseason appearances. And okay, if we're being honest, a lot of that is the fault of him being stuck in Cincinnati for all those years. 2010, 2012, 2013, and 2020 were the only 4 times that Joey Votto played playoff baseball. But yeah, I mean, we talk about the tiers, Carson. We talk about the, definite Hall of Famer, maybe Hall of Famer, not Hall of Famer. Joey Votto is for me anyways, is between the not a Hall of Famer and the maybe Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. So Jenny, no, I would not vote for Joey Votto. And that, I know Hall of Fame is, that's the pinnacle, whatever, but the fact that Joey Votto probably won't get in the Hall of Fame, Carson, doesn't take anything away from the career he had.
No, absolutely not. There are plenty of guys who played in the league who've had fantastic careers that just aren't Hall of Famers.
Joey Votto, probably one of the most underrated players to ever play in MLB. So, anyways, Vicky W, who would you take in a 7-game series, the Padres or the Diamondbacks?
Padres. No hesitation.
In how many games?
I could see it going the full 7, but
Padres the 7, huh?
But I think Padres take it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would go 7, and yeah, I think I would probably take the Padres, mostly because the Padres have been way more consistent, and that Padres pitching staff, I'm telling you guys, the Padres pitching staff is ridiculous, and they're stacked. I think the Diamondbacks, I think the D-backs would give the Padres all they wanted, but yeah, I think the Padres would end up coming out on top in that one. Not to mention that would be one hell of a series.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we're probably going to end up seeing those 2 teams play in the wild card series this year, but we'll see. Jason T, which team do you have the most confidence will make a deep run in October, and which team do you have the least confidence in?
Most confidence right now, I would probably say the Philadelphia Phillies.
Really?
And yeah, I
okay.
I think they're constructed for a deep playoff run. I think they've got the depth, and I think they're.
I mean, they have made deep runs the last 2 years, so yeah.
As far as least, I mean, I really don't want to do this, but the way that they're playing right now, my Minnesota Twins, I am not very confident in this team right now. Like the way, and granted, like, and I don't. This is not the same team that we had a year ago, obviously, but and I mean, I wonder, especially about the matchup that we could potentially get in the wild card round. Even from a logistically a matchup standpoint, we're in trouble.
You mean possibly having to face the Astros?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Twins are that's a really good point. The Twins are not that is not the same Twins team that we saw a year ago. All right. Most confident and least confident. Well, I mean, let's just get this out of the way. Least confident, the Dodgers, because their track record in the playoffs the last couple of years, and that the pitching staff is just, pitching staff is not good. I mean, I know they're supposed to get Yoshinobu Yamamoto back here soon, but I have zero confidence in that pitching staff, and winning in the playoffs, it comes down to pitching and defense, and the Dodgers just, the pitching staff is not good. The pitching staff has more leaks than the Titanic. Most confidence. Oh man, this is tough. Most confidence that they'll make a deep playoff run. You know what? I think I've got to go with the Guardians. Carson, you were talking about them earlier. I mean, you want to talk about a team that's stacked. Everybody's been sleeping on them all year. I don't know why. They have the second best record in the American League. They're right there on the Yankees' heels for the best record in the American League. And within striking distance of the best record in baseball. I don't know if it's because it's Cleveland but Carson, if I were a Guardians fan, I would be, and I know Guardians fans have had their fair share of, Guardians fans have had their fair share of, past disappointments, but I don't know, man. If I was a Guardians fan, right now, I would be extremely confident in this team.
Yeah, absolutely. They are built to win, and they are built around. Obviously, Jose Ramirez is the gear that puts the whole factory in motion, but
they are so much more. They have so many other great players around him.
Absolutely.
And I know we've talked about it before, but how about a shout out to Stephen Vogt?
Yeah. AL Manager of the Year easily.
Yeah. To come into that and take over and try to fill the very large shoes of Terry Francona. Not a small task, and Stephen Vogt has done it and then some. And has the Guardians in a outstanding position to make a deep run in October. So, yeah, should be interesting for Guardians fans. And last but not least, Kendra P. Which fictional baseball player would you bring in to save the day in a Game 7?
I mean, is this even a question? Like, whole thing? Duh.
Yeah, that is the safe, obvious answer. Yes. Fictional baseball player. I was reading this and I was really trying to rack my brain. Yeah, I mean, I guess. How do you go with anyone other than Wild Thing?
You don't.
Yeah, I guess you really can't. I was thinking about some of the other players from Major League. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you really can't. Yeah, I guess you really can't go anywhere other than with anyone other than Wild Thing. Sorry, Kendra, that was kind of a boring answer, but yeah, there's really no other way to go. All right, that's the mailbag. Thank you, as always, everybody, for sending in your messages. Don't forget to drop us a line at eighth-inning-pod.com/mailbag or eighth-inning-stretch@gmail.com, and we just might read your message on an upcoming episode. Real quick, some must-watch games. What do we got starting? Starting Monday, we've got Royals and Yankees. That's going to be a good one. What else we got going? Not a whole heck of a lot, to be honest with you guys. Let's see. What about next week? Wow. For a late season schedule, like this schedule is kind of underwhelming. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It's not great, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. I'm actually kind of disappointed. Like, come on, this is we're like middle of September here, folks. We're getting down to the wire. We've got 20 games and counting to go in the regular season, and the schedule makers just kind of blew it. But what I know you all want to know is to ask Carson if we have a tankathon.
We do indeed, and that's the wonderful thing about as we get into September. While apparently this week's slate of games is not great, as more and more teams start to trickle their way towards playoff elimination, the amount of teams that can be selected for a tankathon, we are in the September call-ups of the tankathon season, where teams can officially be called up into selection for the tankathon. And that applies with our tankathon selection today, as the Pittsburgh Pirates, for the first time, I think, in quite some time, are in the tankathon, taking on the Miami Marlins.
Ugh.
So if you want to see Paul Skeens and literally nothing else, go watch that series.
I was gonna say, is Skeens at least pitching for the Pirates?
He does pitch tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, that's something at least. Yeah, that's a bad series. But hey, at least you get to watch Paul Skeens, who's a lot of fun to watch, by the way, in case you haven't. One last thing. Yeah. This might get a little ranty here. So we've talked ad nauseum about the Seattle Mariners, and they fired, how they fired Scott Boras back on August 22nd after they went on a 1-8 road trip, and they went on a stretch where they were 20-33. At the time, and I've said it many times, that Scott Boras, it was time for a change. But at the time, fans, including myself, looked at the Mariners and went, okay, that's a step in the right direction, but if you really want to turn this thing around, you also need to get rid of president of baseball operations, Jerry Dipoto. So imagine my surprise and my frustration when I see this story from the other day, when the Seattle Times reported that Jerry Dipoto will return to the Mariners as president of baseball operations in 2025. This is the man who is in charge of a team that held a 10-game lead. Let me say that again. 10-game lead in the American League West on June 18th. I know we're into September, but June 18th was not that long ago, ladies and gentlemen. The Mariners are now entering play this weekend, 4.5 games behind the Astros. Yeah. Seattle Mariners, are you freaking kidding me? Like, how can this? Fine, you got rid of Scott. Cool. Good step. Good first step. How can you possibly keep Dipoto in charge of this front office when he has failed miserably in the last 3 off seasons. Signed, okay, sure. This trade deadline, he did go get Justin Turner. He did get Randy Arozarena. He did put together this pitching staff, which is arguably the best pitching staff in baseball. But how do you look at Jerry Dipoto and think, yes, this man has done a good job constructing a roster? You've made the playoffs once under him, and it was the first time he made the playoffs in 20-something years. Dipoto took over as GM in 2015. The Mariners have made the playoffs once. They've won 1 playoff series. And not only has he kept his job through all this, he was promoted to president of baseball operations in 2021. How? I cannot comprehend. How? Why Seattle? I mean, this is by keeping Dipoto and general manager Justin Hollander, by the way, because he's not blameless in this thing. By keeping these guys in place, Mariners, you are sending a giant neon billboard of a message to your fans that we do not care. We don't care about putting a good team on the field. We don't care about competing. We don't care about trying to end our streak as the only team in Major League Baseball to have never even played in the World Series. That's the message you're sending to Seattle. That's the message you're sending to your fans. And quite frankly, it's bullshit. It's disgusting. It's pathetic. It's asinine, acid 10, acid 12, acid 13, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. You're a pathetic excuse for a Major League Baseball franchise. So, screw you.
Feel better?
A little bit, yeah.
Well,
sorry, everybody. I warned you guys. I warned you.
But I mean, well said. Yeah. I don't
know
how
I wish, you know what, Carson? I wish I could suck that much at my job and still keep my job. Like,
amen.
Right? Like, if any of us sucked that much at our jobs, we would have been fired ages ago.
Yep. Absolutely. Well,
pathetic.
For my two, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you do have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once, because it is another installment as the Green Day reference counter goes up to 5.
5. Yes.
It is time for another Twins tirade, brought to you by Printer Dudes, not officially. Rocco Baldelli. I need to talk about this man for a minute. So, AJ, you and I are both illustrious baseball minds, right?
Yes.
Like, obviously, neither of us are major league managers, but let me just walk you to start this off. I'm going to make this an interactive one last thing. Let me walk you through a scenario, and you tell me what you would do if you were the manager of this team. Okay.
Okay.
Your starter has gone 7 innings, retired 15 straight batters, and is at 80 pitches. You are winning this game. What do you do?
Wait, so how many pitches?
80 in 7 innings.
It's the 7th inning.
So going into the 8th inning, your starter has gone 7 innings, retired 15 straight batters.
Mm-hmm. And thrown how many pitches?
80.
Well, I mean, clearly you put the starter back out there for the 8th inning because you need to ride the hot hand.
Congratulations, you have a better managerial mind than Rocco Baldelli. Because you want to know what this man did?
Let me guess. He went to the bullpen.
He went to the bullpen, and the bullpen lost the game.
I'm shocked.
He went to Yohan Duran in the 8th inning to try and get a 6-out save. He got the not only did he get the loss in that inning, he pitched literally a third of an inning, gave up 3 earned runs on 2 hits, and then Griffin Jacks came into the 9th and blew the save. I don't understand how this, he sabotaged the Twins last night. Absolutely sabotaged them, sabotaged a fantastic start from Bailey Ober. And the fact that us as fans, the fact that I was able to illustrate that situation to you and you knew what to do and the actual manager of my team didn't.
I mean, to be fair, we're not to brag, but we're not your average baseball fan.
You do have a point. Yes, we are not the average baseball fan.
But
slick reference to the show tagline, by the way. Well done.
Oh, wow. I didn't even do that on purpose. That wasn't even on purpose.
But
wow. I'm gonna applaud myself for that one. That was good. I didn't even do that on purpose.
But it blows my mind that you have a starter that has retired 15 straight batters. Yeah. And it's in the 7th inning, and he only has 80 pitches. And what the quote that one of the reporters referenced, we have a 2-run lead in the 8th inning with our best relievers who are rested and ready to go. I feel good about that. Why should you? You had a starter that had retired 15 straight batters and only pitched 80 pitches going into the 8th inning. That's solid efficiency. I feel good about that. I don't feel good about Rocco Baldelli. Fire that man into the sun, into the Andromeda galaxy. Just fire him to Naboo at this point. Get this man.
No.
Either that or just
fire him to Mustafar.
Fire him to Mustafar. Somebody call Pat McAfee. Get him to put on his cleats one more time. Take whatever computers Rocco Baldelli has with analytics and get him to punt them to the freaking moon.
My
God.
That is a classic example of a manager or coach outthinking themselves because of something fucking stupid analytics said.
And one of the quote that in the Athletic piece, which shout out to the Athletic, as always, fantastic coverage. Here's what Rocco Baldelli said. When we have an opportunity to win a nice ball game and we have a 2-run lead in the 8th inning, we should win the game, period. That goes without saying. But when you're not able to find a way in those games and you can't complete it, you can't finish it, it's going to frustrate everyone in the room. It's going to bite us and it's going to hurt and it's going to feel crappy until we find a way to pull one out. It was on you. You're the one who cost the team this game, and you are throwing them under the bus?
Mm-hmm.
You had a 2-0 lead with a starter who has actually struggled against only seemingly the Kansas City Royals and Bailey Ober. You look at his stats against everybody else, this man's a Cy Young candidate, but against the Kansas City Royals, I don't know. He turns into like I don't even know what to compare him to. He just turns into a dude with a noodle arm and is giving everything up. But it's so frustrating that we have him ready to, he's on fire. Like you said, you've got to ride the hot hand.
Yep.
And it just, ugh.
Yeah.
Fire Rocco Baldelli into the sun.
That about sums it up. Yeah, no, that, ladies and gentlemen, that is a classic example of analytics getting in the way. Like, come on. Because some stupid projection or whatever told Rocco Baldelli that he should have, I should go to my bullpen here. Yeah, no. You shouldn't have. Yeah, that's that's incredibly frustrating. Yeah. So that's about all we've got for you guys. We ended the Green Day reference counter at 5, so that's a respectable performance. Wow. Just looking to see if there's anything else. Yeah, no. Oh, look, my Red Sox lost. What a surprise. But the Patriots won, so there's that. Oh, yeah. We got sort of distracted at the top of the show with talking about Wade Boggs and his cancer diagnosis. But happy first NFL Sunday to everybody.
Woo!
This is the last. This is it, guys. Football season is officially here. That unfortunately means baseball season is winding down. But as always, we'll be here with you guys through the end of the season and all through the playoffs and crowning a World Series champion. That is hopefully not the Astros or Dodgers. Please, for the love of all that is good in the universe, please, anyone but the Astros or Dodgers. But yeah, that's all we got for you guys. We will be back with you next Sunday. Carson, I think we're back at regular time next Sunday.
I believe we are, yeah.
Yes, we're back to our regular 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, 7 a.m. Pacific, and whatever time that is for those of you in Hawaii. I'm not sure. It's like 5 a.m. But yeah, so we're back to our regular time next week. We are off the following Sunday. We're off the 22nd. Carson, you're going to a wedding that weekend. Right?
Yes, I am off to the not so great state of Iowa. Hey, you know what? When you are a Minnesota Golden Gopher alum and
okay, I'll give you that one.
You hate Iowa.
That's fair.
But I mean, after all, you know what Iowa stands for, AJ. It's an abbreviation. I owe the world an apology.
That's good. Yes, so we're off the 22nd. And then we're back on for a couple weeks, and then we're off for Carson's wedding. Here in a few weeks.
Surreal.
Yeah.
It is coming up quick.
It's coming fast, man. I owe the world an apology. I'm stealing that, by the way. I mean, I have no beef with the state of Iowa. I mean, I've never been there. I've probably driven through it at some point. That kind of reminds me. But, sometimes people make jokes about places like that. Like, people for years and years and years, I heard people joke about Indianapolis. And I heard people call it Indianoplace, which I still think is pretty funny. But having gone there this past May for the Indy 500 and all the festivities and all the ridiculousness that goes along with the Indy 500, I can honestly say I was thoroughly blown away by not only the city itself, but the people. So I don't make the Indianapolis joke anymore, but I will give you Iowa because you're a Golden Gophers fan and the Big Ten and whatnot. So, but yeah, that's it, guys. That's all we've got for you guys. Unless Carson has some clever way of working in one last Green Day reference, maybe. No. Okay.
No.
All right. You're all out. Okay. But yeah, that's it. We'll be back with you guys next Sunday at our regular time, 10 a.m. Eastern, at eighth-inning-pod.com/live stream and also live on Twitter. Don't forget to give us a follow at 8th-inning-pod. Yeah. And don't forget you can catch the show anytime on demand wherever you get your podcasts at Linktree/8th-inning-stretch. Yeah, give us a follow on Twitter, 8th-inning-pod, and for more, including our newsletter/blog, 2-Strike Count, in our original documentary series, The Book of Baseball, head to 8th-inning-pod.com. And please help us continue making the best indie baseball content this side of home plate by supporting the show using the QR code on your screen or at eighth-inning-pod.com/donate. Everybody have an awesome week. Remember to take care of yourselves, take care of your physical health, take care of your mental health. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. And as always, remember to take care of each other.